Hello, hello, everyone. Thank you for coming today to the Modern Witch's Cauldron with Mother Hex, who is right beside me here. She's having a little bit of technical difficulty where she can't really hear me, but I'm going to give her the go ahead when it's time for her to go. So, my name is Trish. I am the CEO and co founder of Witchsy, bringing this event to you today, and we're going to learn some very cool and some very witchy stuff with Mother Hex. And then at the end, we're going to have a live Q&A. So if you have any questions for the Q&A, please pop them into that question icon next to us. And also, once we get going, if there are any things that you'd like to see for future events with Mother Hex as she's starting to go through everything, please put it in the chat. We're going to take all that feedback, maybe pop it into a poll at the end of the end of the live for you to take, and then that will decide which direction that we're going to go in. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Melissa, Mother Hex.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Modern Witch's Cauldron. As introduced, my name is Melissa, and I'm the creator. I'm a kitchen witch, a beeswax worker, an apothecary maker, and I've been practicing practical magic for years. So it's not an aesthetic, but the real hands-on, everyday kind that fits into our modern lives. I'm a teacher, a maker, and I believe deeply in transparency and sourcing ethically and using real materials. I live in Groveland, California. That's just outside of Yosemite National Park in California. And my craft is rooted in this land, right? This earth, this community, and the resources that I can forage locally when possible. And you might wonder, who is Mother Hex? So Mother Hex comes from the old stories of the bee women, the Melissae, the nymphs who fed the infant Zeus honey in secret to keep him alive. And there are versions where it's the nymph Malia and others, the caretakers, just simply called Melissa. But the thread is always the same. It's the women who nourish, protect, and transform through honey and craft. So because my name literally means honeybee, that lineage just felt like home to me. It resonated so deeply. And so Mother Hex became the container for the work that I do. And there is a little more information on my website, motherhexwaxworks.com, if you want to read more about that story. And what I need from you today is just to show up and to be curious. I don't need you to be perfect. I don't need you to have spotless homes or full apothecaries. I just want your curiosity and your willingness to learn and your openness to try things with real materials. Ask questions, tell me what you want to learn, and let this be a conversation, not a performance. And most importantly, let this be real. Bring the real life, your real limitations, and your real interest, and that's all I ask. So, what is the Modern Witch's Cauldron? So you can see I have an array of things here on the table. The Modern Witch's Cauldron, it's my way of teaching this craft using the tools that we actually have and use today. So a cauldron, it's always been a vessel of transformation, heat, time, ingredients, intention, most importantly, intention. And that's it. In the past, it was a cast iron pot over a fire. And today it's probably a slow cooker or a multi-cooker, double boiler, wax melters. You know, the tools have changed, but the process has not. And so this approach is practical. It fits into your real life. You don't need a hearth. You don't need a, beautiful dedicated setup. You don't need a perfect kitchen. If you can heat something safely and you can practice this craft. So just, think about the Modern Witch's Cauldron like you would your own kitchen. It's using what you already have, adapting to your space, and making magic that works in the world you actually live in. So when I say the modern cauldron, I'm talking about the tools that you use to melt, infuse, pour, transform ingredients. It's witchcraft, if that's what we want to call it, right? So today it's safe to use those terms again, and I'm so happy about that. So it's witchcraft that meets you where you are. It's in your kitchen, it's in your home, it fits in your schedule with your tools. And so I'm using notes today because it's my first class, and I'm showing up, imperfection as well. I've been sick all week, and this is a learning and teaching experience for me. So I want to talk about what I mean by practical magic. I mean, the movie name's fun and all, but in real life, practical magic is magic that you actually use in your real life. It's hands-on, it's material-based, it's rooted in ingredients that you trust. And most of what I make is for care, whether it be self-care or care for others. It's not abstract, it's not an aesthetic, and it's not something that you do for special occasions. So it's material-based craft, things you can hold, you can apply, you can drink, wear, or even give to someone who needs care. It's tinctures and salves and balms and oils and teas and beeswax candles, infused honeys. It's the things that nourish, soothe, protect, and replenish us. And practical matters because most of us don't have endless time, right? We don't have perfect kitchens. We don't have these beautiful curated altars. We're living modern lives. We're working, we're caregiving, we're juggling responsibilities, and we're trying to take care of ourselves in the middle of all of that. So practical magic fits into that reality. It uses real ingredients, real heat, real transformation, and it gives you something functional at the end. Something that supports your physical and mental well-being, something that you can trust because you made it yourself. And that's really important to me, knowing where my ingredients come from. So that's why I teach practical magic, because it's accessible and repeatable. It's rooted in real materials and it actually helps. So my main material that I use in my craft is beeswax. It's central. It's the backbone of my craft. It binds, it seals, it protects, it preserves, and it carries intention better than anything else. So beeswax has been part of human history and magic making for thousands of years. So long before paraffin, long before synthetic oils, and long before anything mass produced, beeswax was the material that people trusted. Ancient cultures used it to seal jars, preserve herbs, waterproof tools, bind pigments, polish wood, make art, make the very first candles. It was considered precious, protective, and alive. It shows up in Egyptian tombs, in Greek temples, Roman households, medieval apothecaries, and it was used in medicine, in ritual, in art. And in today's time, we also use it to, polish wood and make beautiful candles, make tinctures and balms and salves. So I use it because it's the material with the most integrity. It melts, it binds, it seals, it protects, it preserves, and it carries intention better than anything else. It's antibacterial, it's stable, it's safe, it's natural, and renewable. And it is deeply connected to the land and the seasons. So when I work with beeswax, I'm working with something that has lineage, something that witches, healers, makers, and apothecaries have used for centuries. And it's not a trend. It's not an aesthetic. It's a material with history, purpose, and power. And because beeswax is so central to my craft, I'm intentional about where it comes from. So I source my beeswax directly from beekeepers, and most likely you can do that too. So bees are everywhere. They're all over the land. When I get my beeswax, we buy several hundred pounds at a time. And so I clean it myself. I keep it natural, the natural scent, the beautiful variations, and it's not processed. It's not bleached. Really nothing's altered, just filtered. And it's just real beeswax, the way that it's been used for centuries. So why we use modern tools? We live in modern lives. Most of us are juggling work, family, caregiving, community, and everything else the modern world demands. We don't have hours all day to stand over a stove. And modern witches deserve tools that support their lives. So, not tools that demand more from them. So, practical magic has to fit in real life. I mean, you can see we use it. I use an Instapot quite regularly. It's one of my go-to tools. Silicone molds, melters, obviously jars. If you're a witch, you have to have jars, right? Oils that I can get from trusted companies. So, the slow cooker, the wax melter, the silicone molds, digital scales, all of these things are just modern versions of the same tools that witches and apothecaries have always used. So modern tools does not make the craft less authentic. So I want you to hear that. It does not at all alter the authenticity of the craft, but it does make it accessible. It means that you could make a salve while you're doing laundry. You can infuse oils while you're working. You can melt beeswax safely without babysitting a fire. And so modern tools give us consistency, repeatability, and safety. And they also let more people practice without needing a perfect setup or dedicated workspace. The heart of the craft hasn't changed. We're still melting, infusing, blending, nourishing, shaping, and transforming. We're just doing it with tools that support our lives instead of tools that demand more. So I want to take a minute to dispel the romanticized witchcraft myth. Before we go any further, I need to talk about, and I know a lot of you are brand new, right? So you might be here because you're curious or because you have something that you're waking up to. And because you've seen witchcraft online and thought, okay, well, what does this actually mean in my life? And that's exactly what I want to talk about. So most of what you see online is an aesthetic. It's curated, it's staged, it's beautiful, right? But it's not the day-to-day reality of the craft. Real witchcraft, real making. It happens in lived homes with imperfect schedules, with kids and pets and dishes in the sink. Heck, I've got some dishes over there. Thank goodness you can't see them. But it's also important to know that you don't need to know anything to start. So you don't need a background, you don't need a perfect altar, you don't need a wall of jars, you don't need to already be a witch. So if you're new, you're in the right place. I am not going to gatekeep or overwhelm you. I'm actually here to just show you what this looks like in real life. Simple, doable, grounded, and accessible. You can start exactly where you are with what you have and just grow from there. So I know some of you may not be new to the craft, and this could be a little repetitive or redundant for you, but I'm hoping if you stick around, I'll learn something from you, right? It's all about the give and the take. So let's talk about the purpose of today, and then I'm going to ask you what you would like this class to look like. So today we are here to ground ourselves, to gain an understanding of what practical magic actually looks like, to learn the foundation before we even start making anything. And I want to prepare you for the hands-on sessions that are going to come up next. This session is not about making anything yet. It's about giving you a real honest foundation so you can understand this craft. And being new, a lot of you might not know the terminology, the tools, the ingredients, or even what witchcraft means outside of the internet. And that's okay. That's exactly why this session exists. I want you to feel oriented, not overwhelmed. I want you to understand the why before we get into the how. So today is about clarity, confidence, and connection. It's about showing you the real version of this work and the version that will fit into your life, your home, your schedule, your budget, and most importantly, your energy. It's about giving you a foundation so that when we do start making things in the next sessions, you'll know exactly what you're doing and why it matters. So you can think of today as more of the map, and then the upcoming sessions will be our journey. And so right now I want to ask the moderator, Trish, if you could please gather some answers for us. Before I tell you what I could teach you or what we can do next, I want to hear from you. Like, what do you want to learn? What's the first thing that comes to mind? Is it potion rollers? Is it beeswax votives, infused oils, salves, balms? What feels the most exciting for you? So while you guys are typing your answers in, I want to say this. It is completely okay if you don't know what you want to learn next. Most people don't. And most people come curious but unsure. You might not know what the difference between a salve and a balm is yet, and you might not know what a votive mold looks like or what an oil that's infused actually does. And that's normal. So that's why we're here and we're doing this together. So if you're not sure, just tell me what sounds interesting, what feels doable, and what you'd actually like to see and use in your real life. There's definitely no wrong answers. So, um, so I'm going to take your requests into consideration, and we'll build out the next session around what everybody collectively wants to learn first. So whatever we choose, it will be something practical and something that you can actually do in a real kitchen with simple tools. And just so you know, everything that we make in this series is meant to be practical. Again, you don't need a fancy setup. You don't need a dedicated workspace. You can do this with basic tools that you already have in your home. And then I can provide kits through Witchsea at MotherHex, or you can use stuff that you already have at home. The kits, they will include whatever the core ingredients are. So like if we're working with an herb, it'll include the carrier oil, and the herb that we're using. Or if we're going to make a candle, it includes some of the beeswax and the wicks. But you'll also be able to use the tools that you have already. And I'll keep it simple. And so you're not going to need to buy anything that you don't need. And you're never required to buy a kit from me. It's just there if you want the convenience. So if you prefer to use your own materials, that's totally cool. My goal is just to make this accessible, affordable, and doable in your real world. So, and also as far as timing, I'd like to kind of know, what do you think? I want this to be achievable and sustainable for everybody, including me. I'm busy mom. I'm a mom and a grandma. I have a child at home still. I'm a wife, and I have multiple businesses that I'm running. So I want to maintain a schedule that, works for all of us. I feel kind of like weekly is a little too fast for most people, and it also doesn't really give me time to curate the kits. And then monthly could feel a little too far apart, but that's okay if you prefer that. I think I'm leaning towards maybe every 2 weeks as a rhythm. That'll give us time to get the kids together, give you time to get your materials and practice, right? Practice what we've learned in the last class and not feel rushed. So, but again, I'll check in with you all and, see kind of what your thoughts are. And then once I've had time to review everything, we'll get the classes scheduled and announce the project that we'll be making. I'll prepare a materials list, and if you want a kit, of course, I'll have that available too. So again, this is just an introductory class. I want to get a feel for, where everybody's at, and, get an idea of what it is that you want to learn from me and what I can teach you, and maybe even what I can learn from you. So, do we want to open it up to Q&A at this point?
Melissa, can you hear me now? Yeah, she's having a tough time. Let me bring up this question. Which tea is the best for sleep?
Oh, the tea that's best for sleep just historically has been chamomile tea. There are, uh, gosh, I'm sorry, I'm just kind of trying to think off the top of my head. Um, so lavender. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so lavender is a really good one. Definitely decaffeinated, right? So we don't want to drink a tea that's got caffeine in it when that's the opposite of what we're trying to do. So lavender chamomile is really good. Um, I have I'm so sorry. I have this kind of like uh I would not be good on Jeopardy. I sometimes feel like a deer in the headlights, and I tell you, like at 2 in the morning, I can answer that question in my sleep. So I always joke, well, I'll just call you at 2 in the morning and give you the answer that I can't think of right now.
Let's try this one. What type of balm or tincture would be the best for dry?
Oh, let's talk about dry skin. So part of what caused me to start making my own is I have pretty severe psoriasis, and all of my kids had eczema, and the cortisones, the harsh, prescription medications, they're awful. They smell and they're expensive, and they're just they just don't feel good, and they don't really keep the psoriasis at bay. So an extreme form of dry skin is what I have, and I actually make a lemon lion. So it's dandelion with lemon. That's one that I do. And of course, all of my balms and salves, they do have a beeswax base. And oftentimes I'll use coconut oil. So not the fractionated kind, but the solid coconut oil. And I mix that with beeswax. And castor oil is actually a really nice oil as well. And so is almond oil. Um, but for dry skin, that's the one that I would use. And I also have one, I call it my sacred trinity. So I forage rosemary and oregano and yerba santa, which is grown locally here, and I make a tri herb infusion with that, and it also really helps. And so between the dandelion and the sacred trinity, they both, all of them are going to nourish your skin and help with dry skin because of the base, right? The oil bases. But the herbs in both of them also help with inflammation. And that's a big part of where psoriasis comes from.
What is the best for cuts and scrapes?
Oh yeah, cuts and scrapes. So what's best for cuts and scrapes? I'm actually thinking I probably should be reading the whole question for everyone else who can't see them on their screen. And so cuts and scrapes, the lemon lion is a good one again. Um, and depending on the pain, I actually make one I call bog balm. Bog balm, I infuse pot and into an oil. And not everybody's going to be comfortable with that, but it has zero like psychedelic effects on you. It's just a topical that you would put on your skin. And that one is amazing for pain. So it's not only healing. So I clean out the, CBD, and there is some THC that gets into the infusion, but the CBD is where that the the real medicine is, as far as I'm concerned. So that's one of the ones that I would use for anything that's got pain associated with it. And then as far as healing, the sacred, the yerba santa, the oregano, rosemary infusion, that's really, really good for cuts and scrapes. And then again, so is the dandelion. And for me, I just add the lemon to it because it smells delicious.
Do you know good herbs for depression in a
Oh
tea?
gosh. So do I know any good herbs for depression? To be honest, the most effective herb, and it's one of the most common for depression for me, is lavender. Lavender is one of the most calming and soothing and tranquil. herbs that we can. I mean, it's actually really a flower bud, right? But um, it's one of the most it's just one of the most calming and effective. I actually make some rollers, my potions, I call them, and one of them is called Peace Potion, and it includes lemon, lavender, and peppermint. And it is in a carrier oil. So carrier oils, those can be any of the like liquid oils, fractionated coconut oil is a very common one, sweet almond oil, and kind of whatever you want to use. But I personally use that one whenever I'm feeling anxious and whenever I'm feeling down. It just lifts my spirits, and because it's in a roll, the one I do because it's in a roller form, I can apply it effectively for use like around my temples. And if you at all are experiencing any kind of headache or you know head pain, and again with the anxiety, I would also infuse it with my CBD oil, and that seems to do a lot for me.
All right. Do you have a salve that would draw out a silver or draw out infection?
Okay, so do I have a salve that would draw out a sliver or draw out infection? So you're gonna love this one. No, I don't necessarily, but you ready? It's potato. So if you take a slice of potato and you apply it to, um, especially like a sliver or even a spider bite, anything that's gotten some kind of poison under the skin, and you put the potato on it and just put a band-aid or wrap it or whatever, you will be amazed at the drawing powers that it has. And that's just been my go-to forever. So I hope that answers your question.
This is my question. Teas and salves are the top votes for the poll. What type can we learn as beginners for the next class?
Sure. So I think that it might be a good idea. So teas and salves. Did you just read that? I can't hear. So okay. Um, so teas and salves. I think a good one to start with, based on what I can put together and what I can make available sooner rather than later, would be salves. We can make any kind that we want, really. So I'll put that class together. So we'll do a salve making class. We'll actually learn about the oils first. So we'll talk about the oils, and then we'll actually make a salve together. And do we have a poll for time? Are we thinking like 2 weeks, maybe?
Yeah. It's a little difficult. I'll ask in chat. When would you like to see timing of another class? Would you like to see it during the day, in the evening? What time of, day, week works best for everybody? 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? When do you think is a good space in between? 3 weeks to have a time to get a kit. Someone asked, what is a salve? Melissa's having some tech difficulties. She can't, we can hear her, but she can't hear me. So she may not be looking at the screen. Let's see what else we got here. And sorry about that, Martha. Yes, I read that incorrectly. Sliver, not silver. Sorry about that. My, dyslexia kicking in a little bit here. Yeah, 2 weeks is good. Anytime between, yeah, I think so too, Jessica. I think a couple of weeks. Yeah, days preferred. People like days. Yeah, I think so too.
Okay. And do you want me to answer the question, what is salves?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. So salves and balms are in essence made the same. The difference is the viscosity. So a salve is going to be looser. It's going to be softer. So if you were to, for instance, put your finger in it, your finger would push in because it doesn't have as much beeswax in it. Whereas a balm is going to be a lot harder. Let me actually, I don't have a salve on my table, but I do have a balm. So let me grab this one here. And I'm not sure if you can see super clearly, but do you see when I push into it, it's like really hard. So I can I can push, but my finger's not going into the mixture. But because my finger's warm, and this is made with the oils, as soon as I start rubbing it around, it becomes a lot softer. So you're really only going to get like a little bit at a time on your finger with a balm, whereas a salve, and I don't use these products, I don't like them, but if you think of like Vicks, Vapor Rub, or petroleum jelly, that's more like the consistency of a salve, and then a balm is going to be much harder because of the amount of beeswax that's added to it.
And
It smells good.
that's all the questions. So the questions are done. So that's good. I'm trying to give her some signals here. We will, what we'll do is Melissa's going to go back through and she's going to look at all of the chat and we're going to come up with a plan. I'm going to put actually this, I'm going to put it as a question on the screen so she can see it. So no more questions, but we'll go through and look at all the preferred times to come up with another class. And get information for you all on kits. They will be very common things. So to come up with another class date and get information on kits. So there'll be common things. So you are not required to purchase a kit because there'll be, common things that you can find around your house. But if you want to use the things that Melissa is using, then you'll have a kit available to you that you can purchase. That will be inexpensive, but you'll have all of the components to it. So I think that if there are no more questions, we're probably going to end it here. And then Melissa and I will come up with a time that works for everybody, and we'll start getting some hands-on workshops in, and we'll go from there. Jessica, we will. Let's see. Excited for the kits. Will there be options if there's certain things we have or don't have so we could buy? Yes. Hold on one second. I'm going to drop that in the question. One second. So that's a good question. So this was a question. They're excited about the kits. Will there be options if there's certain things we have or don't have so we could buy?
Yeah, so the Witch platform, I think, do we have the ability to like make a customized box? So could somebody pick like I need this, but not that, and then make their own Yeah, that's what I thought. So sure, yeah, we'll make everything that we need for the projects available, and then you can build your own custom order kit for that based on what you need, and you don't have to buy everything that would be in the full kit.
Mhm. All right, so I think we're good. We're gonna end it. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming today to learn some foundational items for MotherHex, and then we're gonna build some teas together, and we're gonna build some tinctures together, and we're gonna build salves and balms. We're gonna work with beeswax. So super excited for that, and we will let you all know when the next classes are gonna happen. So I'll let you end.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this opportunity, and I'm really glad to meet all of you, and I look forward to more classes together.
All right. Have a good day, everybody. Thank you so much for coming.
Bye.
Bye bye.